Okay, hi everyone, and good to see all of you, even though I can't see you, but then good to engage with all of you once again. The purpose I'm doing this session is because I have been experimenting with ChatGPT a lot, not just from a learning perspective, but also for my own work, right? And in different aspects, right? So it's not that I'm only using it for, let's say, the coding part or the Power BI part. I'm using it for everything, for my research, to get more context on the projects that I'm working on from a consulting point of view. For example, looking at what KPIs are there in the marketing function. Of course, on the programming side, right now I'm doing some projects on Visual Basic. So, how do you optimize code? For that matter, how do you write code to begin with? And then a lot of it on Excel as well. For today, I want to focus on Excel, but then I will also give you an example, or rather a few examples on some other areas, right? Now, I'm not an expert. I don't think anybody is an expert because it is so new. And we keep on discovering new things every day. There is no documentation, right? So nobody knows what it is capable of. And we keep on finding new stuff every day. If I talk about my journey, I every day I use it, and this is the first thing that I open in the morning, by the way. Every time I work on it, I get a little better, that 1% better. And that is the takeaway. At the end of the session, I will tell you the same thing. Please start working on ChatGPT. It's not a buzzword, it's not one among the many amazing things that are happening around us. AI, ML, all of these will impact your work, but you don't really have to work on it. You don't have to become an expert at AI or ML. But ChatGPT is such a different thing, right? One way to look at it is that everybody has access to the same tool. But then, like I've always said, the way you use it, this entire area of prompt engineering, how you ask the right question, that is super important, right? And that is something you will learn with experience. So let me get straight into it. Enough talk, and please ask me as many questions as you want, right? So I want to give you a few examples that I have created, and I've been, teaching this to a lot of my corporate clients. I did an open session on this as well, which is what I want to share with you. Let's come to this ChatGPT, and I want to open my Excel file as well. Now, keep in mind that I'm using the ChatGPT Plus, which is about $25 per month. Little bit of money, not a lot, about 2,300 I'm spending every month. I don't think there is much difference between the free and the paid version. I think probably in the free version, sometimes it doesn't work, maybe the bandwidth isn't there, things like that. But then otherwise, I think in terms of the capability, it is the same thing. I can ask the same question, get the same response with the free version as well. But anyway, just to let you know, I'm using the plus here. So I have some problems that I've created, and let me open this file. Okay. So I want to teach you these things, how to get step-by-step instructions for performing certain tasks. How do you write formulas by giving the logic? So I have a problem statement, I have the data, but I don't know what formula I have to write. So I want to ask ChatGPT to do that for me. Then I also want to get the explanation of a formula. So I already have a formula with me. This is a problem in many organizations. So you have somebody who has created a file for you. Like today, I did a training for the DS group at their Greater Noida plant, right? That is where they manufacture Pass and Supari and White Pearls and all of that. So this problem was there. I was speaking with the plant finance head. He said many years back, there was somebody who created this macro, and we are not sure how it works. So this is a great way of giving it something ready-made, which is a formula or a code, and asking it to explain it to you step by step. Then, of course, you can also update formulas. So you can modify existing formulas, add new conditions. You can create sample data. We can write Lambda and, of course, VBA. So we'll do it one by one. Let's come to the first one. So the first thing we can do is we can get step-by-step instructions. For example, if I show you this data set, this is a very common problem that we have, which is that we have blank cells below the item. Now, clearly, if I ask you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these belong to which item? You will say, of course, it belongs to A, and the next 4 belong to B, and the next lot belong to C. Now, there are two things. Number one, why does the data come in this manner? Because a lot of systems that are created, a lot of pivot table repos that are created give you this tabular layout where the item labels are not repeated. That is why this happens. If you're wondering, but sir, have you created a problem statement just to teach us how to use ChatGPT? No, this is a real business problem. I think with every client that I work with, this problem is there. If all of you remember, to do the same thing in Power Query, there is an option called table fill down, where I right click and I select fill and I select down. Excel में कैसे करेंगे? Let's say you don't know, you're a fresher, maybe you're new to the organization, or you have forgotten how to do it. Now, one option is you go to Google, but then on Google, you will only find links, right? And when you go to a website, you know the problem. That website has a lot of ads. Maybe the website is not good. Maybe it doesn't explain the problem well. Maybe they give you a video and you don't want to watch the video. You just want a solution. So what we're doing here is, I'm going to go to ChatGPT and I'm going to say, right in front of you, okay? How do I fill blank cells from the value above it? But we have to give it some context. So I will say using Excel. We don't have to give like a proper English sentence, even though it is better that you give it a proper sentence so that there is no confusion. But as you will get better with it, you will learn how to get better results using fewer prompts. So I've said using Excel, how do I fill blank cells from the value above it? So I click on enter. And what it does is, it says, okay, Havish, to fill the blank cells from the value above it in Excel, you can use the following steps. Number one, you select the range of cells you want to fill. Let's follow it step by step. So I'm following step number one. I select the range of cells. So I'm selecting all the cells. Step number two, press the F5 key on your keyboard to open the go to dialog box. So I'm pressing F5, go to opens. Then I have to click on special. So I go to special. Then I have to select blanks. I'm selecting blanks. Now all the blanks are selected. Now I have to put in equal to and select the first cell. So equal to, after selecting all the blanks, one more time, selecting all the blanks, and I'm putting in equal to, and I'm selecting the first value like this. Finally, look at step number 6. I have to press Control Enter. So Control Enter and you get the result. How cool is that? Now imagine, now I want to say, hey, this is working. Thank you. But how can I do the same thing in Power Query? So I can say using Power Query. Okay, please watch. Now I don't have to give it the same problem one more time. What I'm saying is using Power Query. So it understands the previous question, right? So it says, okay, this is what Power Query is. To fill the blank cells, you select the range of cells, click on the data tab in the Excel ribbon and select from table range. Let's do that. So I'm first undoing everything so that I can explain the problem. So let's take the same data without the values filled. So it says step number 1, select the range. I've done that. Step number 2, click on the data tab and then select get and transform data, this one. What will this do? This will open the Power Query editor, as you can see. Now, the next step is select the column that has the blank cells, right click and then select fill and then select up. Now, this is where it's not completely correct. It is saying fill up, but the problem is here, if I do right click and fill and then up, what is happening? It's not working correctly. It's filling it up. So what I can do is I can tell it, I want down. So I'm saying it is filling values up. I want down. And do you see what it did? It is actually now correcting the response, telling me, okay, you can now select fill and then down. So I know I have to undo this and I do a right click and I select fill and then done. Now the point is, does this mean that you don't have to learn Power BI or Excel or any other tool? Can you depend on ChatGPT by not doing any courses? I don't know exactly. What I feel is that you still have to learn the tool. It will help you save time. Like somebody like me who has a lot of experience, and who obviously does a lot of studying, it will help me save time because I know how to do it. It's just that it's helping me save a lot of time by not having to do it manually every time or having to go to Google and search for it. Somebody who is doing it for the very first time, I'm not sure if this will help, because if you don't even know what the capability is, if you don't even know what you want, what question to ask, whether Power Query has this feature or not, then how will you ask it? But then, things might be different. Maybe in another year, 2 years, organizations will be okay with people testing out different things. They will say, you don't have to learn anything, just try different questions. Maybe it works. When it works, you know it works. But I think some level of knowledge is required. You still have to learn what you were learning before. It's just that now you can save a lot of time, and the time saved can be spent on more analysis, right? Okay, any questions on this so far? On the step-by-step instructions, anyone? There's something on the chat window. All right. Okay, let's do another one. So I want to come to start of quarter. Now, this is a very different example and a very nice example. So the problem is, I want to know for the 17th of April, what is the start of the quarter? That means the start of the quarter will be the 1st of April. For the 20th of November, the start of the quarter will be the 1st of October. For June, it will be the 1st of June. For July, it will also be the 1st of June. Now, this is not very easy because there is no function in Excel that enables you to find the start of the quarter. Now, if I had to build a formula, I would have written something like this. I would have said that first thing that I want to do is I want to take the month. So it tells me that the month is, if I convert this into a number, it tells me that the month is 4. And like this, the month number for everything is 4, 11, 6, and 7. Now I have to convert the month into the first month of the quarter. So 4 will be 4, 11 will be 10, 6 will be 4, and then 7 will be 6. How do I do that? So now I can say, okay, if I have the month, now I can do a VLOOKUP with an approximate match. So I'm creating a table where I'm saying 1, 2, 3 should be 1, 4, 5, 6 should be 4, 7, 8, 9 should be, 6, 7, 8, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8, 9 should be 7, and then finally 10, 11, 12 should be 10. And by doing this to an approximate match, what it does is it will convert each month number into the corresponding month, which is the first month of the quarter. So you notice it is 4, 10, 4, and 7, which means April, October, April, and July. Makes sense, right? But what do I do with this? Now I again have to create an entire date. So now I'll again have to say, okay, I want to create a complete date where the year is the year from my original data. Then I'll have to say I already have the month, and then I'll have to put a 1 like this. So if you notice, it's not like super difficult. As you can see, the answer is coming, but definitely not that easy, right? Like for somebody who's not very good with Excel, it's not something you will intuitively pick up. Now, one option is you go online and you search. Maybe you will find the answer, maybe you won't. Let's try to do this in ChatGPT. So what I'm doing is, I'm now going to ask a question. I'm going to say, use Excel, right? I have a date, right? I want to know the first month of the quarter. Now, because this is not a very clear question, like first month of the quarter means what? Do I want to know the month or a date? I don't know. So I will give it an example. I will say, for example, if my date is 17th April 2023, the answer should be 1st April 2023. Okay, makes sense. Let's see the result. So I'm saying enter. It immediately says, okay, here is what you do. To find the first month of the quarter for a given date in Excel, you can use the following formula. Now, of course, the formula is very different to the one that I've used. There are probably 7 different ways of doing it, but let's try and see if this works. So I'm doing a Control C. I'm going to come back and I'm going to do a Control V. But the problem is it is selecting A1. Now you might say, sir, what is the problem? I can always change A1 into B6, but why not ask ChatGPT to do it? I will say my cell should be, okay, my cell should be, or rather my input cell should be B6, not A1. Why did it give A1? Because we did not tell it anything. So it assumed that it's in A1. But now when I say, hey, it is B6 and not A1, it's saving me that 1 extra second row. Why do I need to change it? Let ChatGPT do it for me. So what am I doing? I'm now pasting it. And if you notice, it works. How amazing is that? Of course, the formula is different, but that's okay. It doesn't really matter that the formula is different. Now, if you want, you can try. You can say, are there any alternate formulas? I want to get the same result using VLOOKUP. For some reason, you want to use VLOOKUP. Maybe that is what your boss has told you. Maybe you remember that last time you had done it using VLOOKUP. So you are okay with the answer, but you want a better way of doing it. Let's see the result. So it says, hey, you can also use VLOOKUP to find the first month of a quarter. What is it doing? It's saying first you create a lookup table like this. Now it says, okay, in another cell, use the following formula to look up the first day of the month. So it's sort of doing what I was doing. It's creating a lookup table and then there's approximate match. But then I don't want to create a table. So I will say, I do not want to create a table. Let's see the answer. It says, hey, if you don't want to create a table, then this is another way of doing the same thing. So I'm going to copy this, Control C, come back, equal to, and you notice it again works. See, that's the good and the bad thing about Excel, no? That there is no one perfect way of doing it. There will be like 17 different ways of doing it, which is a good thing, but it's also a bad thing because you don't know what is correct because there are so many different approaches. So now I will say, I want to use VLOOKUP, but I do not want to create a table. So I'm being very persistent saying that, hey, I want to use VLOOKUP, but I don't want to create a table. Let's see. So now it's getting a little better. It says, okay, maybe what you can do is you can do VLOOKUP, and you see it's creating that array within the curly brackets like this. So it says, assuming that your date is in cell B6, it will return the first day of the first month of the quarter that contains the date in the cell B6. So let's try this out. So I'm going to do a Control C, come back, and I'm doing a Control V. But the problem is it's not working, right? So now I'm going to say not working. So it says, okay, I'm sorry to hear it's not working. Maybe you want to use a Control Shift Enter for an array formula. Now see, this is where it gets complicated. For somebody who doesn't know what these things are, you will go in an endless circle, no? If you don't know what is Control Shift Enter, which is the old way of doing array formulas, you don't know any better. You will say, okay, let me follow the steps. That's going to take you time. You will end up wasting a lot of time and not get the answer. Then you will give up. You will say, kaam to karna hai, my boss is after my life. If I go back to my boss and say I spent 1 hour on ChatGPT and I was not able to get the answer, he's going to scold me. He will say, mujhe answer chahiye. Why did you not spend 15 minutes doing it manually? Correct? That's the point. Using ChatGPT without having knowledge doesn't make sense because you will start using it. If it doesn't work, then you don't know, should you still continue to ask questions in a different way or should you give up? Like I know Control Shift Enter is not what I want. So I will say not using Control Shift Enter. Let's see. So it says, okay, maybe what you can do is you can use index. But again, the problem is it's not giving me that VLOOKUP. So I'm going to start a new query, and in a very different manner. I will say, new chat, I will say, use Excel, okay? My input date is in cell B6. I want to know the first day of the first month of the quarter. For example, if my input date is 17th April 23, my answer should be 1st April 23. But I'm not going to press enter. What I'm going to do is I'm going to help it a little bit. I'm going to say, I want you to first find the month from the input date, then convert it using VLOOKUP into the first month of the quarter, and then create a new date. Let's see the answer. By the way, I'm doing all this for the first time, okay? I've never done these exact tasks before. So what it's doing, it's saying, okay, maybe you can do a equal to month and maybe you can do a VLOOKUP, but then the problem is, what is this? What is E2F5? This is called hallucination, right? This is the official term that they're using. Hallucination means that it is just somehow assuming that I have a lookup table in E2F5. E2F5 में क्यों है lookup table? There is nothing in E2F5. How does it know what is in E2 and F5? So this is very dangerous, and a lot of people will not feel comfortable. They will say, why is it selecting E2 F5? I did not tell it E2 and F5. So I'm going to say, I do not want to select a table, create the table within the VLOOKUP itself. Now it says, okay, maybe what you can do is you can do date here, VLOOKUP. It's working, isn't it? Everybody, look at this. Same thing that I had written. Now see, if you're cynical, you will say, sir, what is this? You are forcing it to give you the answer, and you did not give up until and unless it gave you the answer. But think logically. When you're working on a client project, I mean, when I work on a client project, my client has a certain way of working. There are functions that the team is comfortable with. There are certain things that they use very commonly, and they would like to go by that. For example, today I was with the DS group. You all know how large DS group is, Rajnigandha, Pass, etc. And they are using 2013 Office. Some of them are using 2010 Office. So they're very old when it comes to their systems. Now, if I start telling them what are arrays and what is Power Query, they will not feel comfortable. I can't just suddenly overnight shift them, stop the way they work and mature them overnight. So I have to continue working the way they are working, right? I'm doing a project with National Skill Development Corporation. They are not even using Power BI, and they don't want to use Power BI, at least for the moment. Now, can I fight and can I say, why are you not doing it? It is so stupid. No, that's the life cycle that the client is at. And because I want to use the formula, or rather build the formula in a certain way, this is what I wanted to do, right? I am able to now get this answer like this, right? Any questions, anyone? Whatever is on your mind, if you feel that these queries that I'm asking is something odd, or if you're thinking of something else, whatever is on your mind, talk to me. Because see, this is an opportunity we'll not get anywhere else, right? I'm not saying I'm an expert, but then I'm definitely much more senior to you. And this is something that I do for a living. So I'm doing a training for NASSCOM on Friday in Jaipur for CXOs from SMEs, right? So I have to teach them how to start using ChatGPT to heads of companies who are already doing 150, 200 crores. So imagine how much studying, research, hit and trial I have to do to explain these things to them. Okay, any functions which were released after ChatGPT's cutoff knowledge? So September 2021, I think, is what is the cutoff. But then I have seen that some of it still works, and Muskan, at some point they will fix that, right? So I understand that because of that cutoff. So if I say what is the ChatGPT cutoff, it says that September 2021 is the cutoff, which means that anything after that, it doesn't have access to it, right? But then I understand that's a bit of a limitation, but then that will get fixed, right? And in most areas, to be honest, that's not really too much of a problem because we're not using ChatGPT to be like up to date or to find news items, something like that. We're using it for programming, for formulas, and most of the things are pretty old. So far, I've not seen anybody facing much of an issue, and I'm sure they will fix it at some point. So if I say, when will this get updated as a language model? I do not know. It is up to the creators, blah, blah. Anyway, right? Okay, cool. Any other question? Anyone? Right? Okay, let's move on. Now I want to do the opposite. And this is a problem, again, that we had faced today. People said that somebody in the organization has already created this complex file, this complex model, and we don't know how these formulas work. Now I have to change it, I have to modify it. But then who's going to understand how to deconstruct a formula? And see, the problem is when you write a formula, if you did it, let's say 3 years back, at least you remember somewhat what you did. You might not remember it 100%, but because you built it, you know what you have done, correct? But then the challenge is that if somebody else has done it, it's very difficult, for complex formulas. Even though this example is not very complex, but still, I would like to discuss it with you. So what I have here is in fact, this example, I'm pretty sure I must have done it in the orientation session as well, right? Last year. The condition is that for a person to get a commission, their achievement should be more than their target or equal to the target. Between product A and product B, at least one of their targets should be met. And the date of joining should be more than 2 years. So that means they should have been with the company for at least 2 years. This is the formula like this. Now you look at it and maybe you're not super comfortable with Excel and you're like, who's going to spend time and understand it, go step by step, evaluate it. So what do? Just copy it, come to Excel, and I will paste it without giving it any prompt. Let's see what ChatGPT understands. I'm pressing enter and it's just giving me a general description saying, hey, Havish, this is an Excel formula, which is calculating the incentive based on certain conditions, and it's giving it like this. Not bad, right? But now I'm going to tell it, explain step by step how this works, okay? So now it's explaining in bullet points. It's saying, okay, step number 1. The formula begins with the if function, which is used to perform a logical test. Right? Then it says, okay, there's an and because there are multiple conditions. Then it checks this and this and this. Then it also gives you a summary. Now I can say, check my knowledge by asking me questions to check if I have understood the formula. Okay. Now it says, okay, Havish, I'm going to play a reverse role. So rather than explaining, I'm not going to ask you, I'm going to be the interviewer. And I'm going to ask you, hey, what does the and function do in this formula? What is the first condition in the and? What is the second condition? What is the year frac? Like this. How nice is that? This is such a great way for you, to also act as the interviewee, to put yourself in a corner and say, have I really understood it, right? Looking at a formula is not enough. You don't know if you've understood it or not. This is a great way where you are asking ChatGPT to be the interviewer. And then now you're able to ask yourself, have I understood it? So now I can also say, you know what, don't ask me all the questions in one go. Do not ask at once. Ask me one question. Wait for my response. Rate my response on a scale of 5. Then move to the next question. It's like a friend, no? You're telling a friend, hey, I have an interview tomorrow. Can you please ask me 10 questions? Tell me how well I did so that I know, what is the current state of my understanding. So it says, okay, sure. Let me ask you one question at a time. Okay, check this out. What does the and function do in this formula? it takes multiple conditions. So it says, great job, 5 out of 5. Okay. So I will say, okay, next. So now it says, okay, second question, what is the first condition tested by the AND function? Now, let's say I made a mistake. I said year frac. So it says, hey, I'm sorry, but that's not correct. The first condition is D5 is greater than or equal to C5. Now, I'm not going to do this completely, but you get the point, right? I mean, it's brilliant. I mean, the way you will end up using it for the sort of things that you had never even expected. That's the best part, right? I mean, you did not even imagine that you would need something like this. And when you have this, why not use it? I mean, I'm telling you, I'm using ChatGPT for the type of things which is crazy. Like, I'm doing a training for NASCOM, which I was telling you about. And I had to come up with 10 ideas for what could be a possible topic for Power BI. So I literally told ChatGPT, I said, I'm doing a training for CXOs on Power BI. Give me 10 topics. Check this out. Introduction, Power Query, DAX. But now I say, no, this is not what I want. I will say, give me a one-line answer. I want some interesting workshop headline. Okay. How cool is that? It says unlocking business insights with Power BI, a hands-on workshop. Transforming your data into actionable insights, Power BI training for business leaders. Visualizing your success of Power BI workshop for CXOs. And imagine how much time it would have taken you to come up with these things. You all did the college event, right? By the way, congratulations on that. And I'm really sorry I could not come. I'm sure all of you know that I would not have missed it if I was in a position to come, right? But then was in a pretty bad situation. Mom had COVID. Me and wife both had symptoms. So, so just was not in any position to come. But anyway, now I'm going to say, okay, do the same, okay, for advanced Excel modeling for partners at Big Four. This is very specific. Do the same for advanced Excel modeling for partners at Big Four. Check this out. Pretty cool, right? Again, see, if you're cynical and you say, hey, but this is repeating, hey, this is not very good, that's not the point, right? This is just about saving you a lot of time. I'm not saying that I only work on ChatGPT and I do not use Google at all. In fact, let me share my experiences. I was doing something a couple of days back, and you cannot imagine how much time I spent on ChatGPT to get the answer. Finally, what happened? I was not able to get the answer. I went on Google, did a search, 2 minutes, I found the answer. So then I was also laughing and scolding myself, Kiya, what is happening? Why are you focusing on ChatGPT completely? You have to figure out for different tasks that you're performing, what proportion it will be. What is it that you do yourself? When do you try to write a formula yourself? When do you entirely rely on ChatGPT? When do you do a Google search, which is better because it also teaches you. It just doesn't give you the answer, right? But that is the difficult part, no? How to find the right balance. Who's going to tell you? Also, what works for someone might not work for you. So you have to figure out, but then you can't ignore it. That's what I'm trying to tell you. This is too important to ignore, right? And you will need to have a head start, like I'm doing. You guys will all enter the corporate world, right? Now, of course, there are those who are working on it, getting better at it. And you know that ChatGPT is going to be introduced in Excel. In fact, just to show you, I already have this add-in with me called Numerous AI. It's a paid add-in, but this basically enables you to use ChatGPT within Excel. Microsoft is also going to do it. So Microsoft has, even though I can't see it now, they have released this Excel Labs, okay? Even though it's not working for me, but the point is that this year, in another maybe couple of months, Excel Labs is right now an experimental project. But as you can see, It's going to come. And you know it's going to come. I mean, there's not even a question. It's a question of when, not if. And you have to be prepared for it, right? Because if you look at this, let me go to the home page, which I'm not able to do. How do I do that? I am not really sure how to show you. Anyways, it's not like really important, but then you can see numerous AI. This is brilliant. I mean, the sort of things this is enabling, and this is not even very costly. This is, I think, some $10 for 1 month, and you get like 1,000 tokens. So like there's enough available in it. If you notice, for just 850 rupees a month, what you're getting is the ability of asking, look at this, of asking 5 lakh characters in 500 formulas. That's a lot, right? And that's just for 850 a month. My point is that it's not even that, hey, it's not accessible to everyone. Only the large enterprises will use it, or only some people will have access to it. No, this is a democratization of AI, right? Most likely in Microsoft 365, you will get these things for free. We don't know exactly what will happen, but most likely Microsoft will have these things for free. So it's an even playing ground. Everybody has access to it. You really have to get better at it. It's a jungle out there. You have to compete with others, just like I have to compete with others. I can't say, hey, I have experience, I have clients, I deserve to get more work and I deserve to be successful. No, I have to constantly be worried, be scared, be cautious, keep on learning, keep on getting better at it, right? And every day, literally something new is happening, as you can see here. Okay, going back, let's do something different now. Now imagine that you already have a formula and you want to update it, right? So I want to say, hey, I want to update my formula. I only want to give an incentive to a person whose achievement is at least 200, for example. So what can I do? I can just copy this, Control C, come back, and I'm going to say, update this formula, right? Incentive should only be given if D5 is greater than D5 is greater than equal to 200, something like that. Do you see what it does? Same formula. If you look at this part, everyone, that I've added, check this out. It's adding that one part. How nice is that? You don't have to bother with, hey, where do I do it? Where do I put the comma? What if it breaks the formula? Nothing. It just works. Now, if I say, okay, can you, okay, update formula using let. We know there's a let variable declaration in Excel. Let's see. So now it's building the same thing using variable declaration. Check this out. How brilliant is that? Let's prove to you that it is working. I'm going to copy this, paste it. See, it works. Even though now only 2 people will get the incentive because only these 2 people have higher than 200, but you get the point, right? It's working. So imagine the amount of time it is going to save you. I'm again and again telling you, do not think about, hey, I can use it for something I did not know. I think that will come much later. The most immediate benefit is going to be that, hey, I was spending 30 minutes doing something. Now I can do it in 5 minutes. And when you do something in 5 minutes, it enables you to spend all the other time on better analysis or something like that, right? Okay, next I want to show you sample data. So filling sample data is very important because like you might not realize it, but then for us as consultants, when you're creating a formula or you're creating a model, a skeleton, a wireframe, a framework, and I have to show the client what the final product looks like. Even as a product manager, you need to have a lot of sample data, right? And if I ask you, hey, can you fill the sample data with high, medium, low? It doesn't seem very difficult, but then if you do it manually, and if you say, acha, isme let's put a high, isme let's put a, you're not going to do it this way, no, because it's going to take you a lot of time. And how do you make it truly random? Correct? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say to ChatGPT, create a sample table with data. My headings are the 3 headings that I have just copied. I want 10 rows with random, high, medium, and low. Check this out. Brilliant, right? So I just do a Control C, come back, and then do a Control V. Now let me tell you the things that do not work. If you tell it something which is on face value a very simple thing, I will say my 3 columns have 30 values, correct? 10 into 3. So I want to tell it that I want 25 values to be high, 3 to be medium, 2 should be low. Would you not say, after looking at these amazing things that we have done in ChatGPT today, that this is like a fairly simple thing to get 25 out of 30 values as high and 3 as medium and 2 as low? I would say it's a fairly simple question, a fairly direct expectation. But look at the result. So when I press enter, what is it doing? I told it I want, out of 30, 25 values to be like this. Why is it increasing the number of rows? Also, the answer is not correct. It's creating something very wrong. So I will say, I only want 10 rows. Let's see the result now. It creates 10 rows. And now you notice it gives us medium. But that doesn't make any sense. Where is my other mediums and where is my low? This is what I'm trying to tell you. It will work very well at a lot of stuff, but then sometimes it just doesn't work. And the effort that you put to keep on teaching it, let's see if it works. I will say it is still not correct. I want 3 medium and 2 low. There is a medium, there is a medium, there is a medium, and there's another medium. There is still a problem. It is still not working, despite giving it so many additional prompts. How do I know it? Because I've done it. So you can imagine that if I'm showing it to you now, how do I know it is not going to work? How did I have the confidence? Because I spent so much time with it, banging my head against the wall. So tomorrow when I go to a client and the client says, Havish, can I use it for random data? I will say yes. If the client says, hey, can I use it to exactly get a certain proportion of high values? I will say, no, you can't. मुझे कैसे पता? Because I've done it, isn't it? That is the USP I have. That is the advantage I have. If you say, but so what is it that you do better than other people? Everybody has ChatGPT. This is what I do better. I work hard. Because I worked hard, I know what will work, what will not work. And I'm not going to sit idle. I'm going to keep on teaching myself. So when we meet again, maybe in 1 month or 2 months, something like that, I would have got even better than I am today. And then you will feel, Are sir, to bahut aage nikal gaye. We are still at the same point. That is the entire reason I'm doing this session, to tell you, one, that this is a part of your future, a very important part of your future. Do not miss out on it. Second, you have to really, really work hard. I know you guys work hard. You do projects and assignments and events and 100 other things. But ye bhi karna hai. How do you take out time for this? I don't know. That's your problem. But you have to take out time. Just like I'm taking out time. I had a full day training today. I left my home at 7:45, came back at 7. So I was literally out for 12 hours. I was doing a training at a plant for DS Group, and I'm doing a session for you. Why am I doing it? Because I believe in it. I believe in the value it creates. This is not a paid session. I'm not earning any money or any other benefit out of it, right? Other than helping you guys and giving you guidance. That's the point. At the end of the day, it all boils down to hard work. As simple as that, right? Okay, let's see the questions. So can I add the clause the values can be in random order? Okay. Anyway, I'm not doing it. I'm just giving you strings to pull on. I'm giving you ideas. Now you do it. No? Why don't you go back and try different things out of it? Okay. Let's look at one more. So I have 2 lists like this, and I want to find how many are repeat values, something like this. Clearly not an easy formula, right? I won't get into it because I think I've already done it in the Excel training. But anyway, this is not the right time to discuss something like this. The point is, can I expect, this is like a really difficult thing, right? Can I expect Lambda to do this for me, as an Excel Lambda to do it for me. So I'm going to tell ChatGPT, use Excel. I have two lists. Okay. I want to know the values that repeat in both lists. And I also want to say use Lambda function in Excel. Now, you're going to be very surprised because it's going to say, hey, Excel doesn't even support Lambda functions. So I'm going to give you an alternative. I'm going to tell you count it. But you know what? Most of you will give up. You will say, okay, ChatGPT did not know that it's Lambda. Lambda is a new thing. So I'm going to now tell it, Lambda is there in Excel. Now it says, okay, I apologize. You are correct. Lambda does exist. And now it tells me like this, but it's still not giving me what I want. So I want to say, use a Lambda function. So I have to keep on giving it additional prompts. Right. So it's getting a little better. It says, okay, filter with a Lambda. Right. Do you see this? So it's getting a little better. And I will say, my formula should start with Lambda, take two lists, show me the repeat values. Check this out. Okay, finally it is working. It's saying, okay, Lambda x countif list to x. Now I will also say my argument x should also be a list. Now it says, okay, I'm going to give you Lambda countif. Anyway, I'm not going to complete this. I know it works because I've already done it before. But I hope you also see how much nuance and how much depth is there. It's not about, hey, I asked a question, I got the answer. Or that, sir, I'm working very hard. You told me to ask 5 questions, I'm asking it 15 questions. I'm sure all of you will agree with me. It is not about the number of questions you ask. Of course, you have to put in effort. That goes without saying. But then it is much more than that. You also have to learn how to ask the right questions, what order to ask the right questions in. So this entire area, which I'm sure you must have seen it on LinkedIn because everybody is talking about it, is called prompt engineering, which is basically the way you ask questions, right? And suddenly there's a lot of excitement around how to do prompt engineering. Okay, I don't think I'll need 2 hours because I think I've fairly covered quite a bit. Let me just wrap up with and of course, if you have questions, I'm happy to spend time on it. I also want to show you how you can use it for VBA optimization. Not sure how many of you work with programming, but still. Let's say I have a code like this. Now, I know that the code can be optimized because, it's the same thing being repeated again and again. Do you see this, everyone? It says textbox1.backcolor VB green, textbox2.backcolor VB green. Even if you know a little bit of programming, you know this could be optimized, but you don't know how to do it. You do not know how to make a loop. So what do? I will say optimize this code. Check this out. How brilliant is this? It says for each text box, as text box in, but I did not tell it what language I'm working on. So I will say use VBA. So now it's telling me, okay, using VBA, you can basically build a for next loop like this. How amazing is that? Right? Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to cover other examples because I've already done an open session. If you are interested more in on the VBA side of it, you can go and have a look at that as well, right? Yeah, this was the numerous AI that I was experimenting with. This is brilliant. Just check this out. So what I've done here is I have said num.ai, which is a function available in numerous. And I've said classify the statement given in B2 based on negative, positive, neutral. This is sentiment analysis, what we also do on Python. What is it doing? It's telling me that this is a positive statement. Your attention to detail has been impressive. Now, what if I give it a negative statement? What if I say your attention to detail is lacking? Check this out. I will have to check why this is not working. Hold on. Brilliant, right? It tells me it's negative. Now I'm going to say, okay, your attention to detail is mediocre. So now it says it's also a negative statement. If I say attention to detail is average, now it says it's a neutral statement. Now I can also make a change to it. I can say num.ai, this is my input, and I'm going to say classify, or rather rate on a scale of 1 to 10. Okay. 1 is very negative and 10 is very positive. Companies that I work with do this manually to this day. I can't even begin to tell you. There are sometimes 5,000 employees and they're literally doing this stuff manually. Now you might say, sir, but why don't they have a data scientist? You're not going to hire a data scientist just for something like this, right? Check this out. How awesome is that? 7 and a 10 and a 10 and an 8, right? Like that. Anyway, I'm not discussing how accurate it is and what is the correct question to ask. In fact, that's one of the points, right? That you also have to learn how to prompt better. You can't say, hey, it's not working. It made a silly mistake. Maybe it made a silly mistake. Maybe you have to get better at it. The tool is doing what the tool is doing. The tool is very powerful. I'm not going to point a finger and say, tool mein galti hai. I'm going to say, what can I do to get a better result, right? Something like that. Great. Any other question, anyone? Yeah, I think I've
Sir,
given
in
you.
that,
I'm sorry, please tell me.
hi, sir. Sir, in that clause where you said that 10 high to 25 high, 2 medium, and 3 low, can you add the clause that restrict the values, that the values can be in random order?
You can
Maybe,
try that. Some homework for you. You can go ahead and try that. But I have spent more time on it than I'm proud to admit.
okay.
I'm telling you that it's crazy. I mean, you can tell it as clearly as possible. Like I told it clearly, I have 30 values. I want 25 values to be high. I want 3 values to be medium. I told it, please check that not more than it just did not work. And I'm now thinking of the reasons behind it. What it does is because it's creating a randomized order, it's basically putting some algorithm behind it. And to create a randomized order, it's not really able to place the exact number of responses. How did I know it? How do I know it? Because I actually asked ChatGPT, how do you create a randomized list? And that's how I got to know. But anyway, this is like I said, it's not that, oh, this is a stupid tool, it can't do it. That's okay. You can consider this to be a limitation or whatever it is. But you then learn that, hey, I can at least use it to get 60 to 80% highs, and then maybe the rest of it I can do manually. It is supposed to save you time overall. It's not supposed to eliminate your work. Don't expect that from it. Why should it eliminate your work, right? But then,
Yes, sir.
that's the cute part, that you have to really understand what it is good at, what it is not so good at.
Thanks a lot, sir.
Great. Any other question, anyone? So see
Sir, have you
how,
used
yeah,
GPT 4.0?
I'm sorry.
Have you used Chat GPT 4?
I haven't even used, just a minute. I haven't even used the, yeah, I mean, that's the one, yeah. So I haven't used GPT-4. I think GPT-4 also had some cap of 25 messages, but I haven't tried it. I haven't really had a reason for trying it. I've been using it for like a while and I'm super happy with what it has been able to do. Another experience I would like to share with you is that I was working on a project, and this was a couple of Saturdays back. And I went to the office and I decided today I'm going to work with ChatGPT. Till then, I had not worked with it a lot. This was how my day went. It started, it went like this. I was like, what is happening? A project that I expected will take me 5 hours to do, or a part of the project that would take me 5 hours. I'm bloody doing it in 30 minutes. And then I crashed. Then I realized, hey, it's not working. It's some error. I'm not able to find where the error is. Then I realized, hey, I have to slow down and I have to really understand how it works. It's like it has a character of its own, right? You have to understand the nuances, the personality of ChatGPT, and you have to learn when to go slow, when can you go fast, when do you have to be a little concerned with the output. And then I slowed down, and there were many occasions, let me tell you, like that one day was a roller coaster for me. There were many moments where I felt I'm going to give up. मुझे काम करना है, I'm not able to do my work. Let me at least do it the way I know how to do it. But then I realized, hey, if I'm going to give up today, I'm never going to do it. At some point, I have to fight it. And I'm so happy I did that. I mean, not surprised because I always put in effort. But then, the effort that I put in, like you can't even see all the questions because I keep on sort of clearing everything, my chat history. I must have asked like, I don't know, 2,500 questions so far. That is what is making me better at it, right? Like I'm doing a training for a US-based company, and I'm teaching them Power BI to train them for the PL300 examination. I would like to show you something. Maybe I've cleared it. Anyway, I actually created my entire MCQ, the PL300 examination checklist on ChatGPT. So I'm saying I'm preparing for PL300. Give me questions. It's brilliant, right? I mean, this is so nice. Again, the big part is going to be how do you integrate ChatGPT with what you already used to do? Go to Google, search, find the right website, synthesize information, find something from one place, something from another place. See, nobody has the answer to that question. Abhi kya ho raha hai? Everybody is super excited. We are only spending time on this, including me. But then I know in my heart that I can't ignore doing a Google search. I think Bing is going to be the right combination because Bing is a search plus ChatGPT. I haven't used it so far, to be honest. But then, yeah, I guess you just have to be open and keep on studying. I'm telling you the next one. Did I not tell you this when I taught you guys last year? Things will keep on changing. AI will come. You have to learn programming. That is exactly what is happening. Now I can literally be a programmer. Haven't we seen these LinkedIn posts and videos and all where people say, I wrote an entire code on ChatGPT? I'm telling you, this is really what is happening. The entire fundamental way of working has changed. I mean, I'm not making this up. I'm not exaggerating. I work with CXOs. You all know that. You cannot imagine the excitement, enthusiasm, fear, the planning that is happening in organizations related to ChatGPT. We are fundamentally changing the way we think, the way we are planning, the way we are hiring people. And this will only continue to happen in the next 6, 12, 18 months. So आप लोगों के साथ क्यों हो रहा है when you guys are passing out of your MBA? I don't have the answer to that question. It's a good, bad, ugly thing. I don't know. But it is what it is, right? This is the new world. You can't fight it. You cannot challenge it. You cannot deny it. You have to accept it. Some of you might be happy. You will say, hey, this is nice. I wanted to work in technology. Some of you might say, sir, I wanted to be I don't know, a product manager or a HR manager or a consultant. Why is all of this changing the way job profiles will, also get affected? See, nobody asks for change. Change happens, right? You have to embrace it. You have to accept it. And it's beyond these cute examples that I'm giving you. Like I'm saying, it's just going to change the way people work, right? Like the sort of things I used to do by going to office in the morning, opening Google, finding 10 important things, preparing a Word document, preparing a PowerPoint. It is changing, right? I hope all of you have seen how Copilot works. Copilot is what Microsoft is going to introduce. And this is brilliant. I'm going to play this 90-second video for you in case you haven't seen it. Check this out. right? So it's going to happen like literally in the next couple of quarters. They already have the beta rolled out. So again, it changes everything, right? Like even the training that I did today, to be honest with you, I sometimes ask myself, fine, they're working on 2013. Maybe they will get Microsoft 365 in a few months. For a lot of what I did today, they don't need me. They don't need me to teach them how to make a pivot or how to apply a sort because they can actually do these things with a query, right? So I, for one, I'm very, very cautious and very scared. I keep on telling myself, how am I going to enable my survival tomorrow, right? It's as simple as that, right? And you have to be like that. You have to ask yourself, are you learning enough? Are you up to date enough to be able to handle something that happens in the environment around you? Because the environment is changing for everybody, right? You have to be prepared. Your job is not under threat because of AI. Your job is under threat because somebody who knows AI will steal your job. Always remember that, right? AI is not the problem. The person who knows AI is the problem. And that's the challenge you know is going to happen. It is already happening. And if you're not preparing for it, that's not correct. Right? I know you might feel sir to हमेशा negative में बात करते हैं last time. I mean, I hope you, on a lighter note, I hope you realize मैं negative नहीं बोलता हूँ. I just see everybody is going to come and say good things to you. Of course, you guys will work hard, you will get a good salary, all of that. But then there's always competition, right? I mean, imagine you guys are at an SRCC. There are these students from these smaller institutes, tier 2, tier 3 cities. They also have access to ChatGPT, right? I mean, maybe they are spending more time on it than you are. Maybe they're getting better at it than you are. Do you really not believe that in 2 or 3 years they can actually challenge you because they have worked hard enough with the tool? Now you can say, but sir, I did the course, I did the assignments, they have not done anything. Nobody cares. An organization does not care. They want efficiency, they want to save money. That's it. They don't care about retaining people. They care about getting work done at the cheapest cost, most efficiently. As simple as that. That's the life lesson for you. Any company, that is the only thing they care about, saving money. It's a business, right? They have to earn a profit. So imagine who are they going to hire? Somebody at 11 lakh salary or somebody at a 6 lakh who knows ChatGPT and can do 80% of the work for them. They can get like two people for that amount of money, right? So for me also, I'm a business owner. I also ask myself, why should I pay top dollar for hiring a person? Why can't I get two people and train them to be better? That's a mentality everybody will have around the world. And you see, how jobs are going away and salaries are drying up, so that trend will continue for quite a while. Anyway, enough lecture. So we'll wrap up. If you have any questions, you can let me know. Happy to answer. Let me just clean up a little bit. So once your internships are over in July, right? So of course, internships will be a great learning experience for all of you. And I'm definitely going to engage with you. I don't know how, in what capacity, but some manner. Probably you guys can tell me what you need me for. Do you want me to do like mock interviews with you? Do you want me to do some advanced Power BI sessions for you? Whatever it is, just let me know. We'll organize it. We can do an online physical session, something like that. But you have to tell me, right, what you need me for, because I might also have to do some homework and research. Ab aap bologe, sir, can you do like a 10-hour training on ChatGPT for us? I don't have enough content for it. I'll also have to do the research. I'm just giving you an example. The ball is in your court. If after your internship, you guys don't reach out to me and you don't tell me, sir, can you help us with this? It's on you. It's not on me. You have to figure out how is it that I can help you the best, right? I know I'm sometimes a little difficult to catch hold of, but then that will happen, right? I mean, I'm super packed with all these things that I'm working on. I mean, if you look at my calendar, it's absolutely jam-packed, like it always is. That will happen with everybody. So that's the reason I wanted to do this session with you, because this is something I've been planning for a while before your internship. Very important. Please continue working with it every day. Make a study circle, share your learnings with each other. Don't ask yourself how much to learn. Ask yourself, am I learning something new every day? I think that's the most important thing, right? Okay, I'm going to stop talking now. If you have any questions, you can ask, and then we'll wrap up the session.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Yes.
Sir, myself Akshat.
Hi, Akshat.
Sir, actually, sir, as you have yes, hi, sir. Sir, as you have already discussed, sir, we need your help regarding sir advanced courses on the Power BI, and sir, basically the questions that I mean basically mock questionnaires that can help us in gaining much experience while facing the real interviews in basically in business analytics field. Like sir, the questions basically on the Python and then on the SQL and then on the Excel. And then on the Power BI, sir, basically the tools that are in the continuously in the use in the modern world. So, sir, we want, I mean, the questionnaires, sir, yeah, that we want.
So Python, SQL are not my areas, of course. Power BI, because I'm doing PL300 preparation lectures for a lot of clients now. I have like a bunch of excellent content with me. So that is probably something we can plan. Now, how to do it? Like, can we do like a 1 hour guest lecture? Can we do a doubt session? That we will figure out once your internships are over. Fair enough. I think just circle back with me once internships are over. We'll see what we can do. If you want to do like a 5 hour session, 6 hour session, something like that. Python SQL, I don't know. I mean, if you want, I can speak to ma'am and get in touch with a colleague who will be the right person for it. I never knew you wanted to learn the Python and the SQL bit as well. If you want to learn, then I'll make some calls and get you the right person.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Great. Anyone else? Okay, excellent. I hope you had a good session and some takeaways from what ChatGPT can do. I'm not an expert, remember, so it's going to be a little haphazard, not very systematic. Maybe a little systematic, not a lot. I don't think anybody can be systematic because we're all learning. But then please make sure to definitely allocate some of your time every day working with it. Super important, right? Great. All right. All the best. And, you can just reach out to me for any questions that you have. Right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for the session.
Bye-bye.